Somewhere in West Africa grows a berry that can trick your tongue into tasting a raw lemon as candy. In Jamaica, a fruit so beloved it became a national dish can also poison you if you pick it one day too soon. And in the mountains of the Andes, Mark Twain once called a single fruit the most delicious thing he had ever eaten. These are not fruits you will find at your local market. Today we are counting down 12 of the rarest, strangest, and most extraordinary fruits on earth. Durian. Durian is famous for one thing above all else, its smell. Often compared to rotting onions, gym socks, or worse, the odor is so overpowering that durian has been banned from hotels, airports, and public transit across parts of Southeast Asia. And yet, beneath that reputation is a fruit with a devoted, almost obsessive following. Fans describe the flesh as rich, creamy, and custard-like, with notes of almond. The fruit itself is enormous, sometimes 6 to 8 inches across, encased in a husk covered in thorny spikes protecting pale yellow flesh inside. Grown across Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines, durian has earned the nickname King of Fruits, a title as polarizing as the fruit itself. Ackee. Ackee is Jamaica's national fruit, and it comes with a warning most fruits do not need. If picked before it's fully ripe, Ackee contains a toxin capable of causing a severe and sometimes fatal illness, known as Jamaican vomiting sickness. The fruit must be allowed to split open naturally on the tree before it is considered safe to eat. Once properly ripe, Ackee has a soft, creamy texture that closely resembles scrambled eggs when cooked, which is exactly how it became the star of ackee and saltfish, Jamaica's most iconic dish. It is a fruit defined by that tension between danger and delight, which is part of why it holds such a powerful place in Jamaican identity. Miracle fruit. Miracle fruit does not taste like much on its own, but eat one, then bite into a raw lemon, and the lemon will taste like candy. This happens because of a glycoprotein called miraculin, which temporarily binds to your taste receptors and makes sour foods taste sweet for up to 2 hours. The fruit comes from a small evergreen shrub native to West Africa. In the 1970s, there was real momentum to bring miracle fruit to the United States as a sugar substitute for diabetics, but the FDA classified it as a food additive requiring further safety testing, and the effort stalled. It remains legal in many places today, sold fresh or as a powder, more novelty than staple, but a genuinely strange trick of biology. Rambutan. Rambutan takes its name from the Malay word for hair, and one glance at its spiky red shell tells you exactly why. Crack it open and you find translucent, juicy flesh similar to lychee, wrapped around a single seed. The tree that produces it can grow astonishingly tall, reportedly up to 24 meters, and it belongs to the same family as lychee and longan, though its wild appearance sets it apart. Rambutan originated in Southeast Asia but has since spread to East Africa and parts of tropical America, carried by traders and travelers centuries ago. It remains a fruit most people outside the tropics have only seen in photos. Mangosteen. Mangosteen is often called the queen of fruits, and the title fits. Beneath the thick purple rind sits snow-white flesh with a flavor that is sweet, tangy, and impossible to compare to anything else. The tree itself is astonishingly slow, taking up to 15 years before it produces its first fruit, but a mature tree can then yield over 1,000 fruits in a single season. For decades, mangosteen was essentially unreachable in the United States. Importation was banned until 2011 over concerns about the Asian fruit fly, and it is now only allowed after the fruit has been irradiated. Even today, it remains a rare find outside Southeast Asia, treasured by the few who know what they are looking for. Welcome back to Farm Fact Daily. Every day, we uncover fascinating facts about farming, nature, plants, and the incredible world around us. Today, we're taking a break from the fields to explore something truly extraordinary. 12 of the rarest fruits on Earth. Most people will go their entire lives without ever seeing, let alone tasting, these incredible fruits. Get ready to discover what makes each one so unique. Let's dive into the next. Dragon fruit, white pitaya. Dragon fruit looks like it belongs in a fantasy story, with hot pink skin covered in green, scale-like spikes. Slice it open and the inside tells its own surprise. White flesh scattered with tiny black seeds, tasting somewhere between kiwi and pear. Here is the detail most people miss. Dragon fruit is not a tropical tree fruit at all. It grows on a climbing cactus, and the plant produces large white flowers that bloom only at night. It is a fruit that looks engineered rather than grown, which is a large part of why it has become such a striking symbol of the exotic fruit world. Salak, snake fruit. Salak grows on a stemless, clumping palm found across the markets of Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Its reddish-brown, scaly skin looks unmistakably like snakeskin, which is where the nickname comes from. Ripe salak is crisp and sweet with an apple-like bite, but the unripe fruit is sour and astringent, carrying a noticeable tannic edge. In Indonesia, it is eaten raw but also candied, pickled, or tossed into spicy salads made from the unripe fruit. Even the plant itself has a second life. Rows of salak palms are planted close together to form natural, impenetrable hedges, since the spiny leaves are sharp enough to double as fencing. Horned melon, Kiwano. Horned melon looks less like food and more like something from another planet, with bright orange, spiky skin covering a bright green, jelly-like interior packed with seeds. Native to the Kalahari Desert region, it is a fruit built to survive in conditions where almost nothing else grows. The flavor is often described as a mix of banana, lime, and cucumber, and its high water content makes it a genuinely refreshing find in an arid landscape. Its resilience has made it something of a symbol in the communities where it grows wild long before it became a curiosity on other continents. Buddha's hand. Buddha's hand is a citrus fruit that looks nothing like citrus. Its rind splits into long, finger-like segments that curl outward, resembling a hand raised in blessing, which is exactly where its name comes from. There is no juicy interior and no seeds inside. It is essentially all rind, but that rind carries an intensely fragrant, floral lemon scent that has perfumed homes and temples across Asia for centuries. The zest is used to flavor dishes and cocktails, and unlike most citrus, its pith is not bitter, making it usable in ways ordinary lemons never could be. Cherimoya. Cherimoya is a heart-shaped fruit with pale green, scale-patterned skin, grown in the cooler valleys and higher altitudes of South America. Mark Twain reportedly called it the most delicious fruit he had ever tasted, and one bite of its custard-like flesh, layered with notes of banana, pineapple, and strawberry, makes the claim easy to believe. Unlike most tropical fruit, Cherimoya actually prefers cooler mountain climates rather than lowland high heat, which is part of why it has stayed so rare outside its native region. It is eaten by scooping the flesh directly from the skin, seeds and all, then removed as you go. 11. Soursop. Soursop, also called guanabana, is a spiky green fruit with a flavor that is genuinely hard to pin down, often described as a mix of citrus, strawberry, and banana all at once. The fruit is a tease by nature. Cut into it too early, and you are met with a tartness that puckers your mouth instantly. But let it fully ripen, and the flesh turns creamy, fibrous, and sweet. It shows up in smoothies, desserts, and even cocktails across the tropical regions where it grows, prized as much for its unpredictable flavor as for the patience it demands from anyone hoping to eat it at its best. Akebia, chocolate vine fruit. Closing out this list is one of the most obscure fruits most people will never encounter. The fruit of the Akebia vine, sometimes called chocolate vine, native to Japan, China, and Korea. The fruit itself is pale purple, sausage-shaped, and splits open when ripe to reveal a soft, translucent, jelly-like pulp studded with black seeds. The flavor is delicate and mildly sweet, often compared to a subtle mix of banana and passion fruit. It is rarely cultivated commercially and mostly foraged in the wild. Jabuticaba. Jabuticaba might be the strangest-looking fruit tree in the world, not because of the fruit itself, but because of where it grows. Instead of hanging from branches, these small, grape-like purple fruits sprout directly from the trunk of the tree, clustering so densely that the bark almost disappears under them. Native to Brazil, Jabuticaba has a thin skin and juicy, translucent white flesh with a flavor similar to a grape, though slightly more tart. It is almost never exported because the fruit spoils within days of being picked, which means the only real way to taste it is to travel to Brazil itself. Cupuaçu. Cupuaçu comes from the Amazon rainforest and belongs to the same family as cacao, which explains why its flesh has a faint chocolate undertone layered beneath something closer to pineapple and pear. The fruit itself is large and oval, encased in a thick, hard shell that has to be cracked open to reach the creamy white pulp inside. In Brazil, Cupuaçu is blended into juices, ice cream, and desserts, but outside South America it remains almost entirely unknown. Its rarity comes partly from the fact that it does not travel well and is rarely grown commercially beyond the region. Marula. Marula grows wild across southern Africa and carries a reputation almost as strange as durians, though for different reasons. When the fruit falls and ferments naturally on the ground, elephants and other wildlife are famously drawn to eat it, which gave rise to enduring stories about animals getting drunk on overripe marula. The fruit itself has a golden, plum-like flesh that is tart and refreshing, traditionally used to make both juice and a well-known cream liqueur. It is deeply woven into southern African culture, yet remains largely unheard of anywhere else in the world. From a fruit that can poison you before it ripens to another that can make a lemon taste sweet, this list proves that nature is far stranger than fiction. The world is full of fruits most people have never even heard of, and each one has a story that sounds almost unbelievable. So tell me in the comments, which fruit surprised you the most, and which one would you actually dare to try? I'm especially curious to know if you would choose the creamy but infamous durian, the luxurious mangosteen, or one of the truly bizarre fruits still coming up on this list. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another fascinating fact from Farm Fact Daily. Thanks for watching.